Everybody, can you hear me? Okay. This is going to be we don't have a large crowd tonight, so it's going to be fairly informal and fairly quick, probably. We'll be at the food and drink within an hour. Or less. So I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. We're going to start off with our agenda tonight. What we're going to do is do a quick welcome. We're going to go over some design review information, some safety for the holidays, and then we have an Adopt the Star. We're going to start that off today, and we'll be having some more communication about that shortly. We generally like to start off with our mission statement for SMA. You know, there are three basic organizations here. There's the club, there's the SEC, which is the fun group, and then there's the SMA, which we're the Darth Vader of the community. So we're the rules and regulation group. And our mission is really to preserve and enhance the quality of life and sense of community through efficient and effective management of the association, maintenance of our common areas, enforcement of rules and covenants, which is the fun part, safety of its residents, and capital improvements that combine to preserve property values and provide the highest benefit and greatest good for the community and its residents. One of the good things that's happening this year is we have an expectation that we're going to pay off the water. The water investment that we had, we invested about $2 million. We're going to end up paying that off this year. What that means to you is there's $25 per month savings that we currently pay into that program that we'll not have next year, which I think is a true benefit. Not to mention that water prices are going up 5% in January. I'm sure you've probably all heard that. Our rate still for water, that'll make it about $7 for the average irrigation meter. We'll make it $7 and about 35 cents for potable water per 100 cubic feet, and we're still at $2.22. So huge difference, and that'll be the savings on a go-forward basis. I'd like to introduce Jim Gary. Jim, would you stand up? Jim's our president. Rachel Cagliano, she's our vice president. Jean, I didn't see you come in. Jean's our secretary. Gary is our treasurer. I didn't see Larry. Larry is our director of art. I mentioned before we have three entities, the club. The club is the golf course, the bistro, all of these facilities. Even our offices, we rent our offices. That's owned by the club. Santaluz Community Council, we've got Berna, who's the director. We're going to also I'm going to introduce her in just a minute. Ann Hines, she's the president. Chris, I think is everything else. That's some. And then the maintenance, SMA really makes up different committees. We have the aesthetics council, who we're going to talk about today a little bit more. The standards committee, that's the group that gives you the fine. They listen to you. If you get a letter in the mail, or you have a chance to go speak before them. And if you're speeding, you're probably going to get a ticket. You're probably going to get fined for that. Now we've had two really big speeders in the last couple of months. We had a club member that was going, 83 miles per hour. And then yesterday we had a homeowner, they were going how fast? 73 on Doug. So we're really watching the speed. We got to keep it safe. We have an emergency preparedness committee that's headed up by Nick. And we have other board members here tonight. Raise your hands, guys. Tuck, you're on it too. Thank you. Ad hocs, we have our ad hoc committees. We have the safety committee that's headed by Alan Pegnata. And we have the finance and audit committee that's headed up by Gary. Gary's our current. We don't often get a chance for you to meet our staff and get to know them very well. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring them all up here for a minute. So would you guys all please come up? Come on. Well, we have Corey Showalter. Corey is the director of operations. She runs just about everything. She runs all the day-to-day stuff. On top of that, she also does payroll. She does all the billing stuff. You know, if you've got a problem with your bill, they come to her. She even provides notary services. So she really is a jack of all trades. She's been here over 16 years. You won't find that in any other community. Very unusual. We have Mindy Walker. I think everyone's probably had a chance to visit with her once in a while. Now, Mindy's been here. She started back, I think we hired her originally in 2002, 2001, right in that area. For 4 or 5 years, she actually ran the Aesthetics Council. And during that time, she processed over 500, about 550 projects during that period of time. So she knows the community very well. As a landscape architect, she was also instrumental in the original design of everything that you see within the gates. All of the open space and common areas. She was the person that was actually drawing the plans. So we took her from that group, we brought her over to the community. So she was here for, I don't know, a period of several years. She left for a while, had kids, came back, and she's been here over 10 years. So total probably more like 12 to 14 years. Javier is our safety director, although he works for Securitas, he's really one of our team. We work hand in hand every day. And his job is really to keep this community safe and does a great job at it. He's with Securitas. He's been here 5 years.
Yes, sir.
Yep, 5 years. Stacia is next to Javier. Stacia Ramirez, she is a administrative assistant, kind of jack of all trades. She graduated from state, spent 2 years almost 2 years. During that time, she was an admin person. Before that, she, kind of a temp. But once she got her degree, we hired her. Really does everything for the SMA and also the SEC. So she's part of both groups. Each one of those operations actually pays her salary. You may know her from getting a letter in the mail if you just got a speeding ticket. Or you may also know that she just completed the newsletter. So she did all the work on the newsletter, everything on that newsletter that went out, it was yesterday or the day before, she did, and she's got another newsletter coming up in December, a special one. Victor is our admin person right now for design review. He's doing a terrific job. I don't know if it all, we did a cutback this year. We cut back about $100,000 in expenses in design review because it was going to cost us an extra $100,000 to keep it going. So we're changing the way that we're operating. He's doing a fantastic job. Usually if you have a design review come in on Wednesday, he's got a letter out to you by Friday. His goal is to make sure that he's communicating on a regular basis. Doing a great job. You'll also see him, he also does part-time work for a security company. Before he came to work for us, before we stole him from security, he actually worked for security for 5-6 years here, something like that. So he knows every address, every person. He knows something about him that brings, really something special to the design review office. Myrna, she is a fantastic director at the SCC. She really makes everything happen, when it comes to events. If you ever want to see somebody with complete detail of what goes on for an event, you would just be amazed at the information that she has and the cooperation she gets from everybody. And I just have to say she does an unbelievable job. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. This is a special place. There's a reason why people come here and they want to stay here. And you, the people, you make it. The land is also important. We have 4,000 acres within the Santaluz borders. That means, and we have 836 units. That means we have greater than one house per 4 acres. Nowhere in San Diego will you ever find that ever again. This is really unusual, very special place. We've got rolling hills, we've got native landscapes. The native landscapes contribute to lower water costs. And again, water costs they're one of our number one expenses here. The architecture is also very special. The customs are, they're historically authentic. Everything has really been designed, whether you're in a production home or whether you're in a custom home. When we went through the process originally, it was, really what works with our climate. And our climate, a lot of that stuff was, things in Spain, things in Italy, a lot of the areas that we're familiar with and we love about some of those foreign places, we actually have here at Santaluz. That's really what we did for our architecture. Everything's kind of low, simple forms. We're elegant, understated elegance here is what I like to say. And then the community, you're all building history here. You're really, again, really special, and your participation is really appreciated. With that, I'd like to introduce two very special people. They're on our Aesthetic Council Design Review Office. Myron, would you come up here for a minute? So Myron, I don't know how long you've been there. 10 years?
We've lived here since June of 12. Been on the Aesthetics Council for God only knows. I'm the oldest guy there in terms of age and length of service, so it's a long time.
Okay, so I'm going to also introduce Rick Hahn. Rick, if you come up for a minute. Rick is also on our Aesthetics Council. Rick is one of the youngest members of 2 years. 3.5 years. So the reason I say that is because everybody that's been in the design review process and the Aesthetic Council process, you're looking at the youngest is 3.5 years. He's getting every 2 weeks these guys meet. And I think that's really special. Gary, one of our board members, he sat on it for another 3 years. 8 years, Jim? Jim was on for 8 years. So the people that are actually involved within the community and participating and looking over your plans and saying whether they're okay or not, to be consistent with what our design is. These guys have put in a lot of time and effort to ensure that the value remains in your home. I think that's really important. And with that, I'm just going to have these guys go over a few things. I think, Rick, you're going to start.
Okay.
Okay, and then Myron's going to come in just a bit.
It's embedded in our mission statement that we are tasked with making sure that the community as a whole stays viable and that individual property values stay where they should be. My wife and I lived in a community for 32 years in Rancho Santa Fe that didn't have a bona fide, ironclad set of rules and regulations, and let's keep this. It was a mix-mash. A building would appear, a fence would appear, a paint job would appear that was garish, and they didn't want anything about it. I was on that board for 25 years, and I got very, very frustrated. Coming here was a breath of fresh air, frankly, because you guys do it right. You do it professionally, you do it right, you've got good volunteers, good staff people in place, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm very, very pleased with the work of the Aesthetics Council. One of the things I think the Aesthetics Council has gotten kind of a bad rep, and that we're going to try to make you do something. That's not it at all. The spirit of this committee is to help you through knowledge and a process that has been tried and true. And if you just take advantage of that process, I was very happy to see in the literature for tonight's meeting that Joe's going to start doing quarterly seminars for folks. Let's say it's Christmas and you're thinking about, I want to change something in the front yard, or I want to take down that tree and replace it with something else. Go to the design review office, talk to Victor. He'll give you a checklist, get you started, answer your questions. We've got people on staff that are professional. We've had them for over 10 years, 2 landscape architects and a regular building architect. They're very capable. They're fun to work with. They're just so good at what they do. They see something in a set of plans that they didn't draw, and they'd say, the one gal will say, you know, if you did this different with the gable, it would just be easier on the eyes. And we look at that and go, oh, yeah, absolutely. She has that gift. It jumps off the page at her, and she grabs it and goes with it. I think that if you understand that we do meet every 2 weeks, what does that translate into? That translates into, if you do it right and follow the rules, it can happen pretty darn quick. Most clubs of our size meet every 45 days. That's a long time between meetings, and people get really frustrated, and they end up starting to do it without anybody's blessing, and then bad things start to happen. And that's where I think we've gotten a bad rap as a group. We're here, we've got a function. I think we do that well. I look forward to those meetings. I truly do. I get to know these guys, and there's 2 gals and 1 guy that are consultants, and we've had them, like I say, for over 10 years. I don't know if any of you are aware of that, but they're there, and they're good. They know what they're doing. So I'll now hand it off to my friend Myron.
Thank you, Rick. Rick just said a number of things I was going to mention also, but I'd just like to reiterate the fact that this community was developed by and designed by very experienced professionals, and it's this way for a reason. If we want to keep it this way, it's going to enhance our values of our properties and the enjoyment of our residency here. The adherence to the rules and regs here and the guidelines is really a major reason why this place is so special and looks the way it does today. It's the people that have gone before and kept it this way to this point have done a hell of a job, and we need to keep it up. So, so that our goal at the Aesthetics Council is to do just that. And as Rick pointed out, it's not our job to make it difficult for folks. It's our job to do just the opposite. And a lot of people don't understand that. When they come in with a plan that is not viable for any reason, they can't understand why we can't use that. It's just a simple thing that people need to come to the design review office or call them, get the real scoop on what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, and don't make yourself a problem. People make themselves a problem so often, and it causes a problem for our staff and a lot of people around, and often causes the applicants, the homeowners, a lot of time and money. It's just silly to do that, and don't have to do that. It's just, the rules are not hard to follow if people want to do that. Sometimes we'll see a situation where there's a, let's just go ahead and do it and not make any application. We'll just beg for forgiveness later. That does not work. That's a terrible philosophy. It just does not work here. And we've seen it cost a number of people a heck of a lot of money, not to mention a lot of lost time. People want to move in, they're hurrying up, they got to move in because such and such is going to happen, I got to be in. Well, they messed themselves up by not following the rules and not following what the professionals tell them to do. The professionals that Rick was talking about I have seen time and again those people make suggestions that have saved these people, the applicants, an awful lot of money, not to mention a lot of time. These people do a great job, and they're underappreciated. And sometimes when they see something that just doesn't work and the Aesthetics Council has to say no, we're the big bad wolves, but that's not the case. We're not going to, and we have no power to change the rules and make any rules. That's not our job. So, but the biggest hindrance we see to people making applications that truly need to get things done. Whoops! I think I pressed a button here. Anyway, the biggest hindrance is poorly done plans, incorrect plans that don't pass muster for anything, let alone the design review office. People that don't come into the design review office and spend a few minutes to see what's going on, what they can do to make a well-executed plan and get approval in a timely manner. It ends up frustrating for everybody. They get frustrated because they can't get their job done. They take it out on the people in the design review office. They take it out on us. But it's just so easy to do it the right way, and people just need to realize that. I just made myself a few notes here because I'm too damn old to remember things anymore. So anyway, talking about the guidelines, they're as most of you know, if you've read the guidelines, have seen the guidelines, they're very comprehensive and in great detail. And anything you want to know, you can find out in the guidelines. If you have any questions, the design review office can easily answer them and expand on them. But sometimes one of those rules or guidelines might seem kind of silly or arbitrary, but if you're ignorant to the reasons those rules and guidelines were put in place, that might be the case. It might seem kind of silly, but they all have a purpose. They were all developed by experienced professionals, and they're there for a reason. So when people start to see what the reason for things are, they start to become a little less frustrated and see, okay, I guess this is why we have to do this. And if they're of the right mind, they can see that it's not hard for them to get it done. The other thing is that many people try to do their own plans, so to speak. And unless you're an experienced person, it's very hard for anybody that is not in that kind of business, so to speak, or had that kind of experience to do anything that is meaningful. People just waste a lot of time. They make a plan up that can't pass the design review office. Wouldn't be good for a contractor to bid from. A contractor couldn't build anything from it. It's just a waste of time. So unless it's something very simple like, say, paint change of your house color or changing a garage door, almost always need a professional help. Professional to help you. Get somebody to help you develop your plans. But first of all, get to the design review office and get some advice. Get some good advice. So I guess that's about it. Just emphasize the fact that the design review office is there to save time and money, and people need to take advantage of it.
Let me say one more thing. When I got on this council, it became apparent to me that lack of information is that's our biggest bugaboo. And I said at one of the first meetings that I was at, I said, it seems to me that one of these days, somebody's going to turn in a set of plans written on a barn napkin with a crayon. And I think we saw that. I think we saw that. That's an actual a piece of paper with some scratching on it that was submitted for review. That's what we're talking about.
They volunteer so much and put in so much time. We really appreciate that. And I got out of whack here. Sorry. Do you want to start, you want to mention really quickly about the raffle?
Sure.
Okay. And then we'll get back to you in just a minute.
Good evening. I'll just make this brief and then I'll finish up a little bit later with the Adopt to Start. We are offering a raffle tonight. So there are 2 baskets that we have over there. It's going to be very simple. All you have to do is choose 1 or more stars. And with each star, you fill out a little sheet that has your name and phone number, and we'll announce the winner this evening. If you leave, we'll give you a call. So please fill out the raffle tickets.
It's going to be very brief, because people are interested in this. You know, how many people are renting in Santaluz? We have 35 people currently renting in Santaluz, about 4% of the total. So far, we've had 31 sales today, actual homes that have closed escrow. We have 3 more that are in escrow. We think we might get about 35 for the year. The lowest price home was actually in the Lozana area. It was 2.125 million. The highest home was at 9.9 million. So we're really, the values, believe it or not, are still, they're fairly steady. You know, there have been some drops in some homes and prices, but for the most part, they're staying fairly steady. And we're going to be about 10 more homes this year closed than we were projecting at the beginning of the year. So far, we're doing pretty well. With that, I'd like to invite Javier to come back up here. He's going to talk briefly about some safety reminders since we have the holidays coming up.
Thanks, Joe. I don't think I need this. How's everybody doing? Sorry, I haven't prepared a joke or anything to get started, so we'll just get right into it and we'll make it brief. Anybody had any issues with kids on e-bikes on the streets? Everybody? Well, they've had issues with our barrier arms hitting them in the head too as they try to stop it. If you know any young children, you have families with young children, please let them know, please word of mouth. This was in the newsletter already. Word of mouth though, it seems to get around a little bit better, so please let them know. Aside from not riding on the roads recklessly, no helmets, 3 on 1 bike, etc., do not try and enter as the barrier arm is up behind the vehicle because it is going to come down. It's not going to read the bike. It's not as big as a car. It's not going to activate the safety loop. And that gate arm is going to come down like we've seen twice already and hit the kid right in the face, one of which had some blood and needed some medical attention. So it's not a smart idea to try and ride your e-bikes through the barrier arms. So use the walkways and the DG paths next to the gates. Holiday safety tips. What am I talking about? Anybody have any idea what exactly we're talking about here? You guys leave gifts in your cars for safekeeping and then don't lock them? Or leave the keys in the car and the ignition since you think it's safe? Don't do either of those. In the holidays, you see a severe uptick in people coming in specifically just to look for open doors. Whatever, those things will be gone. So don't leave valuables in the car. Don't leave your cars unlocked, and definitely, most certainly, don't leave your keys in the ignition. Somebody tried to steal a Porsche. The only reason they didn't get away with it is because they high-centered themselves on the address rock and then had to leave it there. That was supposed to be fun. Home safety and security tips, same exact thing. Lock your homes. The last burglary we had, which knock on wood, it's been a while. We haven't had any recently, and I'll get to that in a second. Burglars didn't know it was wide open, but it was wide open, but they still broke the glass and made their way in that way. But don't leave your homes open. Make sure you lock them. If you have an alarm system, make sure you arm it. Be like my wife, who leaves every day after I do and never arms the alarm and I have to get in and do it remotely. Then I have to remember that, but just arm your security systems. If you're going on vacation, security will come out. We will check your home 30 days. Anything more than 30 days, you have to contract out with like Premier Home Services, or is it just Premier Services? Premier Services, they will come out, and if you're going, you live elsewhere, you have another home, you're going to be gone more than 30 days, They can come out, they can do those safety checks on your house, make sure that there's no leaks, make sure that it's secure, water plants, a whole multitude of things. Burglaries update. I'm just going to read this directly from the police captain, Captain Del Toro, who we have a great relationship with. I asked him and he provided this info. So, sorry for just reading it, but we have not had any residential burglaries in about a month. That's not Santaluz, that's the Northwestern Division in general, which goes all the way from here, all the way to Torrey Pines, La Jolla area by the 5 freeway. The trend has shifted to commercial burglaries in the west side of the Northwestern Division. So again, out there by the 5, mostly near the 5 freeway. The last wave of burglaries ended in May with the arrests of a group of 4 who were working together as a theft crew who hit homes here in our area. In San Diego, they were responsible for 32 burglaries, most of which were in the Rancho Bernardo area. 6 of those burglaries were right here in Northwestern. Those individuals are pending trial and face lengthy sentences, 30 years plus. So that is all good news. That does not mean that everybody should take it down a notch and relax. That just means that you should continue to be safety and security minded. You should call in suspicious activity, and you should definitely secure your homes and arm your alarms. Any questions on that? And the 2 burglaries that did occur on Santaluz, those guys were not caught. So those crews were not caught. Holiday celebrations, if you're gonna have parties, remember that any party with more than 10 guests requires that you submit a Form D through the HOA office. And if you do submit that Form D like you should, we need a guest list. Please don't provide the guest list in cursive and just leave it on Claudia's desk and then I get it and then I don't really know what to do with it. There is an Excel spreadsheet, or if you ever need to submit a list to me, I'll send you an Excel spreadsheet, or just type the names and just name, first name, last name in the body of the email. I can easily cut and paste that into the system and automatically create your guest list. Not so easy when it's pictures of guest lists and things of that nature. Anything over 50 guests, you will require an extra security attendant to make sure that parking doesn't get out of control, make sure that everybody's abiding by the rules, and that we show them to your house in case, you know, they still have to park significantly away from your house. Speeding, Joe touched on speeding, 73 and whatever else, and then the gentleman that was doing 80 something, it was a beautiful Lamborghini, but 83. I don't know what to say. We have definitely had an impact on speeding. We used to average 70-ish%, so 7 out of every 10 vehicles that was going by one of our speed measuring devices was speeding. Now it's about 32, 33, and you're always going to have a few guys that just don't care. So we have done some good work in terms of speeding mitigation. Obviously, the speeding rules apply to residents. They apply to your guests. So if they're not familiar with that, you might want to let your guests know that we do employ speed cameras in the community, and that if they are caught speeding in the community, you are subject to the fine. This includes vendors as well. Now, in case anybody's wondering, if there's an Amazon driver or a DoorDash driver or something like that, we're not going to fine you for somebody that is just delivering your food, or that was possibly here to make multiple deliveries to multiple residents. We're not just going to arbitrarily pick one resident and fine you for it. So don't worry about that. They have to be 100% affiliated with your home. Joe put this up here. Remember to walk against traffic when you're walking on the street. But this is something I gave up on a long time ago. Why walk on the street when there's a DG path right next to the street? I come across this all the time as I'm driving the community. 4 people abreast in the middle of the street around a blind curve when you got people going 70-something miles an hour. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. So try and use the DG paths. But if you are on the street, try and walk so that you can see what's coming at you as opposed to, you know, walking with the flow of traffic. And pull in where call for information. So I would love to say, yes, if you have a question, please call the Northgate. My guys can answer that. But if my guy's at the Northgate by himself and there's like 4 parties in the community and a wedding at the club and he's very busy and somebody's inquiring about a trash can citation that they got and are pretty adamant about getting an answer as to why they got a citation, believe me, the guy at the gate has no idea, nor does he have the power to remove that from the system or anything like that. So if you need information, feel free to call me. My number's on the newsletters, on emails. I'll give it to you now if you want it. And the HOA is your best place to go. So please be cognizant of the fact that if you're talking to that security officer at the gate and you just won't get off and you want to talk for 10 minutes, that you're impeding the other things that he needs to do. Any questions for me? Because that's all I have.
Before I introduce Tracy Owens from the STEP program, which is, STEP means Support for the Enlisted Project. I want to just bring to your attention that we have 3 events happening before the end of the year. This weekend is Clean Out Your Garage, and we'll be on lot 11 from 2 to 4. Then on December 9th is the Holiday Festival celebration. And that will be here in this gymnasium from 10 to noon. And if you didn't receive one of these in the mail, we have them on the table along with the Adopt a Star. And we have Chris, Bernadette, and Stacia that can answer any questions that you might have tonight. So back to the event of the evening, Adopt a Star. Your Santaluz Community Council has supported Adopt a Star since 2017. I haven't been here that long, so that's very impressive. We will partner with STEP to connect families who are working to stabilize their financial situation with the goal of being debt-free and self-sufficient. With your help, we can provide individual gifts for these families so that they can have a special holiday. So with that, I want to introduce Tracy Owens. As I said, she is the project manager for STEP. Our executive committee went about 2 weeks ago, is that correct? To STEP. So we got a chance to see their operation, which is they are in Scripps Ranch. And it's very impressive. Tracy.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me out this evening. It's an honor to be here to talk to you about our Sharing the Joy program. I am Tracy Owens, as Ann said. I am a retired Navy veteran. I spent 30 years in the United States Navy, and I'm a very proud military mom. My son's been in just under 3 years, just got selected for a commissioning program, and I'm super excited for what's coming next for him. That's one of the reasons that I started working for Support the Enlisted Project, is because I wanted to continue my service in another way. Have any of you heard of Support the Enlisted Project? A couple of you? Okay. Support the Enlisted Project is a nonprofit organization. We work with active duty military and transitioning veterans and their families that are experiencing a financial crisis. We help stop the loss of a basic life need, eviction, repossession, utility disconnection, or maybe it's putting food on the table. We want this crisis to be their last. We provide education, counseling, and if needed, a grant. The emergency grant is paid to the creditor, and then our social workers work with those families for up to 12 months after the crisis to make sure it's their last. They teach them how to change behaviors, they teach them how to set goals, and they help them obtain those goals. When I heard about the mission at STEP, I knew that that's where I needed to work. I manage all the programs, which we have several, but I can let you go to our website to check those out. Tonight I'll talk about Sharing the Joy. Sharing the Joy is a holiday adoption program for families that have a bona fide financial need. they would not be able to provide gifts for their children if they did not have this program. Or if they did, they would have to make a choice between paying their car insurance or their light bill. So it would put them in some sort of a crisis if they didn't receive these resources. So we do this every year to make sure that our families can make their struggle a little bit easier during the holiday season. Families submit their wish list, and then we get generous donors to purchase items for that family. It all comes back to support the Enlisted Project, and we have a big distribution for our families. This year it'll be on December 16th, where Santa Claus will be there. We have the superheroes that donated their time this year as well. They'll come out and help distribute gifts to the families, and it's my favorite time of the year at STEP. That holiday joy coming together, and the families are just so grateful to be able to take advantage of this resource. We want our families to enjoy their holiday and also be able to concentrate on their mission. Many of our families are here, their spouses are deployed, so it just makes the burden a little bit easier. So I appreciate you being a part of that this year. And do you have any questions for me? Yes, sir.
Will the Adopt a Star kind of link to what you're doing there, so we'll see a list of requirements?
Yes, Anne and Bernadette and her crew, they all came out, we sat down and talked all that through. It will absolutely do that. The things that are on the Adopt a Star board will reflect the family's wish list. Yes, sir.
So Alan, I was just going to answer that for you a little bit more. We have adopted, how many times? 12 families. So the items that are on the Adopt a Star board are actually a wish list from those families.
Okay.
Javier?
I didn't have a question. I want to say thank you for your service. Congratulations to yourself.
Thank you. People tell me that I smile really big when I say my son just got selected for the program, so that's probably right. I saw another hand, so, but yes, sir.
What's the recidivism rate for families that you help? And how many families do you help?
I am so glad you asked that question. So we are averaging, we're on a real uptick for applications for financial assistance right now. Average is 52 or so a month, but we're seeing upwards of 100 in some cases in the last couple months. Our program is, it works. I believe in it, and that's one of the reasons that I'm here, but it's about 94% of our clients do not have to return for additional financial assistance. They are able to make it on their own, but that does mean there's a couple percent that sometimes need a little extra help to get out the gate. We would be very appreciative of the support. We have a very small staff, and we keep it that way so that we can make sure that everything that comes in goes back out. We also have a big warehouse where families can come in and shop for gently used items, new or gently used items, everything from pots and pans to dishes, things that a military family might need. So in-kind donations are also accepted. A lot of our families have household good move or kids grow fast, so they come in and get their clothes. Those programs are mine, and they are meant to help offset the cost of life's everyday needs, so families don't have to make a decision between paying that light bill or putting diapers on their baby. We had a mom that was trying to try out and reuse diapers because she could not afford to buy diapers. It's not healthy for the baby, it's not healthy for mom. We have a partnership with the San Diego Food Bank, and we are diaper bank partners. Just to give you an idea, we give about 28 to 32,000 diapers away every month. We host food distributions. We were doing one. We started that with COVID, by the way. Ships were coming back from being out to sea to find groceries on the shelves, and diapers on the shelves. And the local chaplains reached out to me and said, Tracy, what can you do for our service members? There's no diapers, there's no food. They haven't been home for 6 weeks, and we need to find some way to help them. So we started food distributions that week. We've been doing them ever since. I think I added it up the other day for last fiscal year. It was like 312,000 pounds of food, and like 259,000 diapers went out in the last fiscal year. Those programs are meant to help offset the cost of everyday needs. So if we can help out with the groceries and we can help out with the diapers, they can put that money to good use somewhere else. So every donation does help. And if you're interested in that, I'll be here for a few more minutes. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. I think we've already done the SEC announcements. We only have one little announcement on the SMA side. We're going to start the green waste program mid-January. So those that don't have the green waste, organic waste, food green bins, we'll be getting those to you sometime in January. And that's about it. I want to thank everybody who participated tonight. Nick is doing a video on this evening's event, and that'll be on our website, as well as tomorrow we'll have the PowerPoint on the website as well. If anyone's interested, or if they weren't able to make it, we'll make sure that they know to go to the website to find it.